Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ben and JB from JBM Sports Media, and here we are going to give you guys our final NFL draft preview. Obviously, JB rocking the Jets gear, even though my Packers don't have a first round pick. Still going to be watching this NFL draft because I think it's going to have a lot of question marks out there. Obviously, until the day of, we're hearing a lot of rumors of people trading up, teams trading down. What could that possibly mean? Maybe the Jets could get something going with maybe a trade or anything like that. They do have 2 first round picks. So do the Giants. I know Mike's not here, but we're going to try to cover the Giants as well on here. We're going to try to do a little bit of everything. Before we do get into it, I do want to shout out Ari Marov's draft right here, final mock draft. I actually really rock with this. It doesn't have any trades included. It does have JV's Jets taking Arvell Reese with the second overall pick. And I guess we'll just jump straight right into talking about the Jets right here because there's been rumors going back and forth since April 15, them going back and forth with either Bailey number 2 or Arvell Reese number 2. So it's been going back and forth. As of right now, they are favoring Bailey, but that could change because it went Reese a few days ago. So what do you think, JV? Who do you want the Jets to take at second
Uh,
overall?
I really, honestly, if it was me in that draft room, I'm going to go Reese. They haven't had a true pass rusher that could really wreck offensive lines and get to the quarterback and stop the run game. I think it's going to be a major focus, especially at the second pick. For the New York Jets, I think Reese just brings more of a bigger play style, a faster play style, and I think he'd be a real wrecking ball, on that defensive line as an edge rusher. I just think that's the better bet right now. I think they need somebody that can sack the quarterback. I feel like I've been saying this for 15 years. The Jets haven't had somebody to sack the quarterback, and they really need that to really up their game defensively and really put a stamp on some games. I feel like if the Jets have a lead late, and what do you need usually when you have a late lead? You need sometimes your defensive line to step up, sack the quarterback, and put offenses in long yardage situations. And if the Jets can do that, I think that's really going to help Aaron Glenn in that defense. So I'd like to see them go after Reese, the second overall pick.
I think a few days ago, if you would have told me Reese, I actually would have agreed with you. I think the Jets have actually shifted their focus to Bailey now, and I think for 2 reasons. I think they feel like Bailey, like in Todd McShay said right here, he's a safer pick than Reese. I think the problem with Reese, from what I was hearing from people, is that he's going to take a little bit of more time to develop. They feel like Bailey already has it. He's more so can make the quicker impact on a team, which is fine. I think Reese is still a possibility at number 2. But the other reason I do believe that people are actually favoring Bailey with the second overall pick is because I think there was a recent meeting between him and the Jets that went really well, and I don't know. I feel like right now, if I had to bet on it, I think they're actually going to go Bailey here. And Reese, they do have him. Ari does have him in this second. Yes, he does have him going to the Jets right here. He does have Bailey going to the Titans, actually. I think that could flop either or. I think it could go either Reese going to the Titans or Bailey going to the Jets. It really just does depend. I think they're both incredible players, and I think they're going to pan out good in this league. It's just, what do the Jets prefer at number 2? Do they prefer the safer option, which I do believe is Bailey, or the higher ceiling, which could be Reese, but it might take a little bit of time? It just really depends how they see it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I think it's two good picks, whichever way they go. I do think, you do make a good point when it comes to the highest ceiling, but it's going to be a development thing. And we all know that the Jets haven't been great at developing anything other than double-digit loss seasons for the last 10 years. But if I had to pick of what they're going to do, I would think it's going to be Reese. Listen, if they decide to go the other way, I'm all for it. I just think that right now, to me, they're going to go Reese. I just think that maybe they see more of a ceiling there.
Yeah, obviously we're not going to talk about it that much, but Mendoza's going number 1. Everybody kind of knows that by now. It's kind of a set in stone type thing. And I will say it's going to be interesting with Kirk Cousins now there in the fold in Las Vegas. How if he's going to start week 1 or if Mendoza's going to sit underneath him, or Mendoza actually will get the start if he is feeling like coming out of camp, this is QB1 right here. So that's just going to be the only interesting to see coming out of the Raiders in this draft in the first round, more so because they got their quarterback. I will say though, and this is just a in general type of thing, in general type of feeling. Looking at the Giants, I think with Dan Grazzino saying this on ESPN, per Dan Grazzino on ESPN, the Giants' most likely selections are Jeremiah Love if he's available. I don't think he's going to be available at 5. Spoiler alert. Or Caleb Downs, which there you go. That's what I do like for the Giants right here. And Ari does have them getting Jordan Tyson, actually, wide receiver from Arizona State. Okay, this is interesting. Honestly, this is where I could kind of want Mike's opinion. Just to see what he finds more valuable, a wide receiver, or do you want somebody on the defensive end? I think that they should actually target a wide receiver at
Me
5.
too.
Or
Me
you
too.
know what? Yes, a wide receiver at 5, either Tyson or Tate. I actually do prefer Tyson as my wide receiver 1. I know a lot of people do want to take Tate, but I think Tyson would be the pick. I think Ari has it right here. And let's look at this draft, mock draft via the oh wow, they have Jeremiah Love. Okay, this is interesting. This is via the Athletics beat writers. They do have some trades right here. They actually have the Jets trading up for the 8th overall pick and the Saints trading down at 16. So that would have to maybe include a first round pick or maybe a second round pick or something like that going. But I will say this. I think the Giants should go with the offensive player at 5. If Love is there, take him. I think that could be dynamic with him and Scadaboo. But in reality, I would feel more comfortable with Neighbors getting a partner in the form of Jordan Tyson. I think that would be the way to go for New York. But if they go defense, I wouldn't be surprised as well because their defense was putrid last year. So that's what I will see. What do you have any opinions on the Giants and what they should do at 5?
I definitely think Jackson Dart needs offensive help. I mean, who's he throwing to? Honestly,
Right.
besides Malik Neighbors, who's he throwing to? And obviously, Malik Neighbors had that brutal injury that cost him, his 25-26 campaign. But I do think they're going to need some offensive help. I do think they'll be able to address their defensive issues later on in the draft.
Right.
But does a guy like Bailey fit them as well? If the Jets pass on Bailey, could they grab him at 5 or 10? That's something interesting too. If they don't want to go cornerback or coverage help, maybe they try to short their defensive line after losing Dexter Lawrence. Who knows? We'll see what they do. But I do think that their first pick at 5 should be a wideout. I really do. I think Jackson Dart needs all the help he can get offensively. And for him to be successful, he needs someone to throw the ball. Other than Neighbors, and obviously, I know the big rumor was Odell Beckham was in the building, talking to John Harbaugh, regarding a potential reunion. But who I know that doesn't move the needle. So it would be a nice veteran presence. I'm sure it'd be great just to have him there. But they're going to need some young talent, some talent that they could keep for a long time. I do think at 5, getting a wide receiver makes the most sense.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bailey at 5. I just see it hard for him to fall like at 5. I think either the Titans or the Jets are going to take him just because of how good he was. I actually did catch a lot of Bailey, especially in the Orange Bowl against the Ducks. Man, even though they lost that game big time, I mean, you could tell he's such a talented player, and he is a safe pick. So I could see him going to Tennessee. I think Tennessee most likely will go with the defensive player. If no, you know what? I could see them going Jeremiah Love if they do get that opportunity, if it does present itself. Some news right here about Albert Breer. Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson very much on the Giants' radar, which I'm not surprised. They need to look at a wideout, in my opinion. The Chiefs. A lot of people are looking at the Chiefs and what they're going to do at number 9 because they have the 9th pick and I think the 29th pick as well. So they have 2 first-round picks, another team in the first round that has 2 picks. What are they going to do? Are they going to target another wide receiver to help Mahomes' defense? Are they going to trade up, maybe get a Jeremiah Love to pair up with Kenneth Walker? So there's been a lot of rumblings on KC in this draft, actually. Let me see who Ari has them taking. Caleb Downs. All right, they have him going defense. That makes sense. If they go defense, shore up the defense. They just traded away McDuffie this offseason, so that would make a lot of sense. But more into some of this news. The Saints believed to be floor for Carnell Tate. So the Saints, I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints go receiver as well to add help for Tyler Shough.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I'm looking at is just very interested in. I was just super interested in seeing is what are the Commanders going to do at 7? Like, do they go wide receiver to help Jaden Daniels? He clearly needs it. Or do they try to stack up on that defense or even protection for Jaden Daniels? Because you saw his injuries came with the multiple times the offensive line just letting him down straight up. And it's just going to be super interesting to see what the Commanders do. Is there any team right here, JV, that interests you in this, I guess, top 10-ish of like what they might do?
I think it's scary that the Kansas City Chiefs are actually in the top 10. I know they had a really bad season, but the fact that they have 2 first-round picks is something that we're not used to, right? I mean, they're a constant winning team, constant winning organization, multiple Super Bowl runs and wins. So we see them usually with the 31st or 32nd pick of this draft, usually at the bottom, and now having multiple picks. So I think that's really interesting. I do think that the Chiefs, I don't know, I feel like on the offensive side of the ball, I do think it would help them. I feel like their defense wasn't really the issue. I felt like their offense was so stagnant last year, and they couldn't really mount a running game, but obviously getting Kenneth Walker is going to change all that. They did retain Travis Kelce. I think getting a wide receiver would help, maybe a slot guy, just for Mahomes to be able to have some more weapons. But if they go after Caleb Downs, I'm not going to be against that. I really won't. I think it'll really help that organization. And like you said with the Commanders, I think they have to focus on the offensive side of the ball. Like you said, their quarterback went down obviously with injury. They can't afford that. Daniels can't get hurt again, and they have to short that offensive line and maybe even add some weapons on the outside. I think they had some trouble scoring too last year, but obviously Daniels was hurt. So hopefully they can get Daniels back healthy. I think if they address the offensive side of the ball, that would be a problem. But if the Chiefs, like I said, if they went defense, that wouldn't be an issue for me. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did go offense as well, try to give Mahomes some more additional weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the Cleveland Browns, I think they're going to go and focus on the offensive line. They kind of have to because they're going to be having this quarterback competition, from what I'm hearing at training camp, between Watson and Shador Sanders, which is just kind of interesting right there.
Oh
Deshaun
wow!
Watson looks like he's going to get one more opportunity to lead the helm there. If he's healthy, I wouldn't be surprised. I think for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns, looking at this draft, it's like they also have two first round picks now thinking about it, because of the Jacksonville trade last year for Travis Hunter. So maybe get this guy a wide receiver he could get and get stuff rolling, but that's kind of super interesting. Or maybe just offensive lineman. This latest NFL draft buzz, per Adam Schefter, the Browns open to moving the number 6 overall pick, which is actually pretty interesting. Rams were eyeing Ty Simpson with the 29th overall pick prior to trading it for McDuffie, so that's gone now. Ideally, the Cardinals would trade out for the number 3 overall pick and have been exploring calls, obviously. I think they are exploring calls, but it's just going to be difficult because if they could feel like they could get a Jeremiah Love right there for the offense, and I think they could be a team that will be looking to actually draft Ty Simpson if the possibility does unfold. I think that could be a team right there for him. I don't know if they're going to roll out a full season with Jacoby Brissett. I mean, no disrespect, but it's just not the wisest idea.
Right.
And they do expect Francis, this offensive tackle, to be still the first offensive lineman selected in the draft, despite having a herniated disc in his back, which is kind of crazy now thinking about it. But hey,
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where he lands and what team takes the risk on him
let me
early on.
see. Oh, the Giants actually have him in the
Oh
10th
wow.
overall pick. Okay, so that's interesting. Have him fall a little bit. I mean, look, it's just gonna have its risk because it's gonna have its risk. Obviously, let's talk about the Jets though. Here at 16, like kind of just focusing on that real quick. They have Mekhi Lemon going to the Jets right here at 16, wide receiver from USC.
We'll see, yeah.
How do you feel about this one, JV? Getting a wide receiver at 16?
Listen, like I said, I think they're going to have to address it. They're going to have to do that in the first round. I think, to me, it's one of the more important positions. I think they need some outside help. It's Garrett Wilson and nobody, and obviously you have Geno Smith throwing the football, so that's obviously a question mark as well. So I think they're going to need all the help they can get offensively. Obviously, retaining Brees Hall via the franchise tag was huge, and I think they're going to have to address the O line so that you can actually help, uh, you know, um, Geno Smith. And they need a wideout. They do need some depth. They need some help on the outside of that, of their offense. And if they're going to be successful, they're going to need all the help they could get protecting Geno. So I think at some point they'll address the offensive line. But I do think getting a wide receiver at 16 is the smart move to go right now.
Yeah, and actually, if I remember correctly, looking back at this Athletic, and they have beat writers controlling this draft, they have the Jets moving up to 8. So I'm assuming they would have to give up a pick as well to move up to 8. But they have Jordan Tyson, who I do believe is the best wide receiver in this draft,
I was going to
going
say
to the
he's the
Jets.
better. He's the better of the two. Yeah, I wouldn't
So
mind him if they could do that.
yeah, so I think that would make a lot of sense. They do have this draft right here with a lot of trades, which is actually pretty interesting. They have the Chiefs taking Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain is such an interesting commodity in this draft because they're the story that came out about him with like the female that passed away in that car accident. Which, if
Yes.
you read into it, that's a whole nother. The fact that barely came out recently, it's kind of a little bit of a head scratching moment, but regardless, this guy is still going to go in the top 15 from what I see. The Rams get him at third. That would be a fucking steal, to be honest with you. Like this guy is a talent. Like, obviously, people talk about his arm length because he has like T-Rex arms, but what talent this guy is. I mean, I've seen him play in Miami this whole year. What a talent this guy is, straight up. My guy, safety Dylan Theinman from Oregon, I will say I think he's going to Dallas. I think this is going to be the perfect move for Dallas. I'm a big fan of him. I actually do see him going to Dallas. I think Dallas need help on the defensive end, and he would be a perfect fit. Like you said, the Chiefs, they have the 9th pick. They have the 29th pick. They actually have a corner going to them at 29 with Colton Hood. I think focus on the defense of MKC. Another team that I'll be very interested to see and like what's going to happen with them, specifically because it's like, I don't know. It's just like what will the Cowboys do with 2 first round picks? You know how Jerry's very like I don't know. I guess he likes taking risks, as we can say. I do see them drafting Dylan from Oregon, but at 20th they have him taking Folk out of Auburn, defensive end. Do they see a way where they could trade up and maybe get something more, or I don't know how risky? I mean, Jerry does have another pick that he could trade. Obviously, another pick from the Packers next year that he could be willing to trade. How risky does he want to get? It's just my question, you know?
Listen, I think he's going to have to address the defense somehow. They were absolutely horrible on the defensive side of the ball. I don't really know if the safety should they go safety first. I know they have Dylan Diamond there. I mean, I don't know. I think Keldrick Falk would be somebody that could land in their lap. I'm just not sure if getting the safety first seems to be the best play. I think they have to address that defensive line. I do think they need to cause some havoc and get some pressure
Right.
on the quarterback. So I think going defensive line or even maybe outside rusher like a linebacker would be smart, and maybe go after the safeties later in the draft. I do see Jerry Jones making some trades. I definitely do. I think he's going to have something up his sleeve in order to address this defense. But they have
Right.
to go defense to me. They have to go defense. Offense was not the issue. They have Dak Prescott. They have George Pickens. They have C.D. Lamb. And Javante Williams is coming back as well. So I personally think they have to address that defensive side of the ball, and I do think defensive end would be the better way to go attacking first.
I will say for me personally, looking at obviously the Packers not having a pick in the first round, it's kind of interesting. Obviously, we would have been at 20th. That's our pick right there that the Cowboys now have. Um, I don't know. I think one thing I will say, I'm looking at this first round just from an outside perspective. There's only going to be one quarterback selected in the first round. I think it's going to be Mendoza. I think Ty Simpson will probably be a second round quarterback pick if you ask me right now. I just think a lot of teams know if they do draft him in the first round, that's going to be a risk. Unless you're one of the two teams with 2 picks, like you could see the Jet. I know you were talking about it before. You could see the Jets, but like would they reach at 16 unless like I don't know. I think that would be a
No,
little bit of a risk, to be
I
honest.
don't. I don't think he's going in the first round to anyone. To be honest with you, I think the Jets will actually avoid getting a quarterback in the early stages. I can see them going after a quarterback in maybe the third round, and obviously, uh, past that. I think the first couple of picks that they have, they're not going to be drafting a quarterback. I said Ty Simpson literally based on what you just said is because I don't think he's going to be taken in the first round. I think he'll be somebody that's available in the later rounds, and I think if the Jets do see him as somebody that they can grab, they may do that. I just don't think it's going to be within the first 3 picks that the Jets have in this draft. The Jets, like I said before we got on, they have 4 picks in the top 45. So I think that they maybe be able to get him in maybe the third or fourth round if they could swing that possibly.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people also talk about Carson Beck and Diego Paiva from Vanderbilt, like as quarterbacks. Like at some point, I think the Jets will draft the quarterback in this draft. I just don't think it's going to be in the first round. I think honestly, if you ask me, I think the Jets should get one defensive player, one offensive player in the first round, and just call it a draft, like in the first round more so. Call it a draft, and then in the second round you cook as well, get some more defense, and that'll be a pretty successful draft. Like knowing these players do pan out. That's why I wouldn't be mad if the Jets go Bailey or go Reese. I think either or is going to be perfectly fine for them in their system right there with Aaron Glenn. I will say, I'm like knowing that certain teams could trade up or trade down. I think the biggest team I will say that I'm very interested to see, and I think a prediction is I don't know if I'm going to be correct, but I think the Chiefs do have an option to trade up, and that's because they do have that 29 pick. And it's just like if they do want to get one of these like premier guys, like maybe they go up and get that third overall. Like if they compare Jeremiah Love, who Jeremiah Love I think is the best player overall in this draft. I think this is the highest you'll see of running back drafted since Saquon a few years ago. Yeah, 8 years ago. I think this is really the highest you'll see a running back getting drafted, third overall right here. And it's rightfully so. Like this guy is a beast. This guy is a difference maker. This guy will sell you the jerseys, make you the money. Like he's the real deal coming out of Notre Dame. And I think the Cardinals would be okay if they don't get the option of like, what they want exactly in a trade moving back. They'll be okay with taking him. But if not, I think the Chiefs could actually be interested in, Mahomes coming back from an ACL injury. Hot take right here. I think the Chiefs potentially could see a way where they could move up and get a guy like Jeremiah Love and pair him up with Kenneth Walker. I think that'd be an interesting one right there.
That would be pretty crazy. And if Arizona does go Jeremiah Love, what does that mean for James Conner? Is he still under contract with
Well, he's
Arizona?
injured. I think he blew out something. Like I think he blew out his knee or something like that.
I know, yeah, I know he was hurt, but I'm guessing that might be the end of him if he does go
Yeah,
to
that's it.
Arizona there. So, listen, the Chiefs, like you said, if they could do that, that'll be scary. That two-headed monster with Jeremiah Love and Kenneth Walker, that could be some scary stuff right there in the AFC West.
Yeah, or you know what? If the Chiefs do go receiver as well, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, get another weapon for Mahomes. Like, you saw how many receivers were dropping balls looking like jobbers out there. Like,
Yeah,
Rasheed Rice was not good.
that was definitely an issue. Yep.
So, like, if they want to go with the solidified guy, no problem with that. Going back to some of this news that Adam Schefter said, the fact that the Rams were eyeing QB Ty Simpson at number 29 before they traded it makes me think that they're already thinking about a Stafford replacement, or not replacement, but like somebody to basically, yeah, I would say replacement, like take control of the reins after he does retire. And with that being said, I feel like the Rams are going to draft one of these top 5 quarterback. Well, not Mendoza, but at least a top 5 projected quarterback, either in the 3rd round, 4th round. And that's going to be their project building on forward. The Rams getting another quarterback after Stafford does obviously leave or retire.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that they have to address. And if they don't do that this draft, they may have to do that in free agency if someone comes available, or maybe make a trade, or maybe wait till next year's draft if they want to explore other options. But I do think that they're going to have to come to a head as an organization and figure out what they're going to do. In regards to their quarterback situation, because obviously I don't even think right now that Stafford is close to retiring. I do think he wants to play maybe another year or two, but at some point you're going to have to get a quarterback in there to learn the system and maybe learn from him and just get in there and get their feet wet. So I do think they're going to have to address the quarterback situation at some point, sooner rather than later, to be honest with you.
I agree. And for anybody, obviously Packers fans out there watching, who do I think the Packers are going to draft in the 2nd round? Honestly, I don't care as long as it's a defense. That's the best way to put it. Just attack the defense, and the rest, I don't care. I really don't care. I will be looking to see if there's going to be any key names. Obviously, we saw Stephen Jones talking about it, Jerry Jones' son, earlier, talking about George Pickens will be playing under the franchise tag this year. No extension talks have been like out there, and just makes me think that this guy, George Pickens, more so I'm talking about right here, he's not happy with not getting an extension done, and he obviously is upset that he's going to be playing under the franchise tag, but that's just the way it goes sometimes, and really just the way the cookie crumbles. But I guess to just kind of wrap it up, and looking at both mock drafts right here, like, for example, this one from The Athletic has a lot of trades going down. Like, they have the Rams moving up, they have the Jets moving up. This will be super interesting. Like, what teams are actually going to move up? Do you have a team in mind that you could see moving up, JV, if you had to pick?
Listen. I love the fact that the Athletic has the Jets moving up from 16 to 8. Obviously, do I think it takes picks? Yes. Do I think it's going to be early picks? No. I think they probably give up a lot of late round picks, just to smooth that over. But if they could go out and get Jordan Tyson, that could be something that's really interesting to me. A wide receiver there. I don't know. I can see the Chiefs doing that too. I can see the Chiefs moving up from 20, from the spot they're in, and potentially, stealing a wide receiver and trying to get, Mahomes some more offensive firepower.
Right.
And I'm interested to see what the Browns do too. I'm really interested to see what they do, how they attack their squad. I know they have potential wide receiver or an offensive tackle. I know that they could potentially go after to protect, either Sanders or Deshaun Watson, which to me is crazy that this guy's even getting a 15th chance to prove himself. So I do think that the Browns may make some moves just to figure something out. And obviously, I think it's interesting to see what Dallas does. I'm interested to see what Dallas does on the defensive side of the ball, if they go safety or defensive end, or maybe an edge rusher. I personally think they need an edge rusher. They got to sack the quarterback. That's my big thing.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy looking at it with the whole Deshaun Watson like situation. Like, he's gonna get another chance most likely, and it's because of not how talented he is or anything like that. It's just because of his contract.
It's the money, yeah, 100%.
He's gonna get another chance, and that's gonna be his last year. It's officially his last year on the Bucs, actually, this upcoming year. So they're gonna give him one chance, go out there, and no matter how good or how bad he does, that's probably gonna be it for him in Cleveland. Probably it for him in the NFL. Well, unless I wouldn't say it on the NFL, because he could be a backup or something like that. But unless he balls out this year, yeah, that's probably it. Like, if he stinks it up, he probably won't get another job in the NFL.
Even if he does okay, and when I say okay, I mean just literally okay, like inconsistent, I think he's done in the NFL. I don't see another team wanting to go that route. I don't even think he believes he's a backup. I think he's completely brainwashed as an individual. I'm not too sure how he gets a job in the NFL after his recent play and his whole personal life. I just don't see how that's a good thing for any team right now. I don't know what potential he brings to a team and the upside that he has. To me, he's just cooked. I think he's cooked.
Wow, now thinking about it, looking at this draft right here, the the Cardinals at 28 take Tyson Simpson in the first round. This is actually I've barely seen this right now. So I do think the Cardinals are going to be one of the teams that are looking at Ty Simpson. I just didn't think that he would go in the first round. I mean, the Jets could be as well, bro. Like the Jets could be as well looking at a guy like Ty Simpson. He had his moments. I'm not that high on him. I think Mendoza's. I think this quarterback class, basically, what I'm coming down to say is like it's not the best. Like
It's Mendoza and nobody.
yeah, and like even Mendoza, like himself, like has fucking flaws, bro. Like
yeah, absolutely.
Like that's the thing. Like if you look at the quarterback class potentially next year, where like guys like Arch, guys like Dante finally going in, like you'll have like some names right there, and you'll have names going and flowing, and that'll be like where it's at. But this year, I think it's more so like, all right, just take Mendoza, and then the rest will be the rest, low key.
But you make a good point when it comes to Mendoza's flaws. But he's also going to a team that hasn't been able to get it right in the last decade. So
exactly.
So let's figure that out too. I mean, I don't want to say that it's Mendoza or bust. I do think that there's going to be a lot of what you call it. I think it's going to take a lot of a collective effort from that front office. I think they're going to really have to sit down and figure out how to develop this kid because they haven't been able to. They haven't been able to, and obviously there's Kirk Cousins now. He's over there, and I think it just creates a little bit of a bridge to Mendoza eventually when that happens. So I think they made a good move there, getting a veteran quarterback, but they haven't had any success in developing any offensive firepower, especially at the quarterback position. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Mendoza, as he embarks on his career in Vegas there. So at least he's learning from a guy that's been a pretty decent NFL quarterback over his career in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, do you see any potential like NFL players being moved around the draft, or is it going to be more so just picks being moved around? You see,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I do think it's going to be. I feel like nights like these on draft nights, it's more pick swaps.
Yeah, right.
And maybe some low level guys that are on the roster, but they're not huge impact guys. I think if it's going to be huge impact guys, it's going to be something for a top 5 pick, right? I mean, maybe a pick and then an additional player. I just don't see that happening. I do think it's more pick swaps than actually players being involved in trades. I think that's something for the middle of the season, early on, for stuff like that to happen. I don't see any big names getting dealt on draft night.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think it's going to be more so picks, but interested to see what team does make that move. Is it going to be KC? Is it going to be the Giants maybe? Is it going to be another Jets making a move, trying to get another wide receiver or getting a more premier wide receiver? I like Lemon. I think Lemon's actually decent. If they do go with him, I think he's a good wide receiver 3 in this draft. Or if the Jets just fully tackle defense, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Like just tackle defense and load up on that so you could get that going and rolling, and maybe you could get a key wide receiver in the second round because there is some good crops of receivers in this draft. I will say that. That's one thing I'm more impressed about. And we'll just see how it plays out. I think this is going to be a great draft right here. I think there's going to be a lot of names that maybe not talked about that highly, that when it comes to push comes to shove in the actual regular season, they'll show out more. Like I think one name we'll talk about very much so a lot is a guy like Ruben Bain. Like this guy's a very talented player. Obviously the shit that came out recently is going to be, posted in headline and everything like that. But when it comes to the talent of Ruben Bain, I think he's one of the most talented players in this draft. I think him, Jeremiah Love, Bailey, Reese, and potentially you could even put Caleb Downs there because Caleb Downs is really good as well. Jordan Tyson, obviously, like these guys are so talented. I think looking at any guy or any team, should I say, that drafts any of those players, I think they're going to be set low key.
Now, my one thing for this draft, and like you said, I did think it's going to be an amazing draft, like always. I'm interested to see at 28 with the Texans zoo. I don't hear they have on the board Malachi Lawrence is a projected pick for them. I'm surprised they're not going wide receiver to help out CJ Stroud, maybe get some offensive help. Their defense wasn't the problem. They were the number 1 defense for the majority of the season, and heading into the playoffs, I had them beating, going to the AFC Championship game. I'm pretty sure at some point before the playoffs started. I thought they were going to be real players in the playoffs there, and their defense to me was going to be the reason why they were going to be carried. So I'm a little surprised that they would go defense here. I know this is just a mock, but I do think they could use some offensive help, especially in the wide receiver department. Obviously, Nico Collins is always banged up, here and there, and I do think they could use some help for CJ Stroud. I think he needs some offensive power especially in the wide receiver game. Um, Obviously, I think that's something that they should look at. So I'm
Right.
really interested in what they do if they go defense. That would be interesting to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is not the case and they go offense.
Yeah, I think another team I'm looking at right now is the Ravens. I think they should go defense. I think the defense of the Ravens was getting burnt a lot, and they got Minter now, who's more so of a defensive minded head coach. So at
Yes.
14, I think they're going to go defense. The Steelers, they have them in this draft. Already has them taking Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana, wide receiver. They need somebody to pair with DK. I like that pick a lot. And I think this is going to be a fun draft, very fun draft, very more so low key compared to some other years, but I think, like I said, there's still going to be some stellar names on the board, and we'll see what the Jets, what the Giants, Chiefs, Titans, what these teams do if they could get a step in the right direction. I know JB wants the Jets to get a step in the right direction big time because it's very much so needed, especially for Aaron Glenn, who's already on a thin leash, I believe, when it comes to next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, 100%. He already thinks that Geno Smith is going to lead us to the promised land. So I think he may have to go with the blue tent and get a CTE protocol because
Yeah,
I'm not too sure how you can even say such a thing. But again, this is what happens when you are a Jet fan and work for the Jets. You become delusional, I think. So I feel like I've been brainwashed for the last 25 years of my life. So we'll see what happens. Even longer than that, actually. I'm 38 years old. I've been a Jet fan since I'm 8. So
Oh
30.
shit.
It's been 30 years of putrid NFL play by the Jets. So
I will ask
um,
you this though before we do wrap it up. The AJ Brown rumors, I'm pretty sure you've seen them. Do you think the
yeah,
Patriots are going to end up doing it? I think they are, bro. I think it's going to happen because Adam Schefter reported. I don't know if you've seen the video. I did a few days ago. Adam Schefter reported that before June 1st or right after June 1st, they expect the Patriots to trade a first round pick for AJ Brown. And I think what people are not talking about in the media a lot, and what Eagles fans might not want to admit, I think that tenure between AJ Brown and Sirianni, I think that shit's over. I think it's over. I think the tides have turned way too much. I don't even think he likes Hurts no more, and I don't even blame him whatsoever, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because
me
if you
too.
see like the way that he's involved in that offense, like there's times he gets 7 targets, there's times he gets 0, and I
Right.
think I really think he's gone. What do you think about that?
Listen, I think he's 100% gone. Here's my hot take. Maybe I'm crazy. Listen, I know this whole thing with this Diana Rossini thing and Mike Vrabel, obviously with the pictures that were posted and he addressed the media. That's a massive distraction, right? It's an early on distraction. Thank God it wasn't mid-season or right before the season, and obviously it happened before the draft, so that they could get this out of the way. How many more distractions does Robert Kraft want after a team was led to the Super Bowl? If AJ Brown doesn't get the ball for the first couple of games and the Patriots are struggling, is he going to go ape shit and is he going to go nuts and talk about Drake May and the failures of the offense? Is that going to be some type of distraction? I'm not too sure. I think they're gonna have to sit down and really figure that out. How much of their future do they want to mortgage for a guy that's very vocal when he's not getting the ball? I do think Drake May and him could have a really nice tenure together. I really do. That could
I
be a
really
really
do.
nice. It could be a really nice 1-2 option, 1-2 punch in
I
that
think it'll be
offense.
better than Hurts, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. I think Drake May has a better long ball than Jalen Hurts. I do think he's a better passer overall.
Yeah.
But does Robert Kraft really want the distraction? AJ Brown to me is a distraction. He's going to be a distraction, and if the Patriots aren't playing well, he may be the one guy that's the most vocal. And do you really want that in a situation that Mike Vrabel kind of caused? And like I said, can they get past it? I think they can. It wasn't life altering stuff. It wasn't
Yeah, it was. I mean,
it wasn't league shattering news, but it definitely is a distraction in the locker room.
yeah,
And I wonder if they're going to talk about that and see if they want another guy that could bring some of that distraction into the locker room. I think it would be a match made in heaven. Though. I think Drake May needs a threat
he needs it.
downfield like AJ Brown, and I think if they had AJ Brown in that Super Bowl, it could be a different story, and
It
that
could have.
game would have been a lot closer than what it was. So I think it's something that's probably going to get done more on the yes side than the no side. But I do think maybe they'll have some internal talks about how they want to go with the organization.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a possibility it gets done. I see it getting done too because, like you said, this whole Vrabel and Rossini thing. I think if they get a guy like AJ Brown for the time being, at least going into OTAs and training camp, they'll forget about the whole Vrabel shit and they'll be like, "Oh shit, we got AJ Brown. This is a new
Yeah.
headline. Like, we got this player Drake May. We got and they're gonna have a tough schedule coming into this year since they won the division and everything like that. They're gonna have a tougher schedule, so they need to make a move. If not, they're gonna get routed in that division by the Bills. And I'm not saying they went on this fairy tale run, but like realistically speaking, the competition's only going to get harder for the Pats, and it's just the truth. I mean, the Jets are going to try to make every upgrade possible through this draft. And I know necessarily they had a good free agency, other than Geno Smith, obviously, but defensively they had a good free agency. Like they got some good defensive players.
They did. They got Micah Fitzpatrick. I thought was a nice move. And they showed him up for 3 years. I think he could be a nice piece at the safety position. And they got David Harris back, a reunion with him. I think he's been a stellar linebacker in this league.
They got my guy Kingsley Enagbari, who's a good player right there. I like him. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that division.
Not David Harris. I'm sorry, I just had a break for us. It's Demario Davis. I'm sorry.
Demario Davis. Yeah, you're right. Demario Davis. I will say though, the Dolphins right now, it don't really matter what y'all do in this draft, bro. They're gonna be shit this year.
They're ass. I mean, they're so lost. That's another team. Complete 180. I thought they were gonna be a team for the next 5 to 7 years that were gonna be fighting for a division, maybe even make wild card spots in the AFC. I just don't see that happening. I think they're
bad right now.
So ass backwards right now. I think Tyreek Hill's going to get dealt. I don't think he's going to be on that team anymore.
Oh, he got released.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, he got released. So that's another guy that's off that team. So their offense is in shambles right now. I don't see. I know Achane is looking for a contract extension. He hasn't gotten it.
Yeah, that's bad.
They're just in shambles right now. And like you just said, Hill being off the team, who are they throwing to? It's really tough right now. Obviously, Tua's not there no more, and what are they going to do at quarterback moving forward? Is that going to be another situation we're going to have to look forward towards next year? Obviously, to me, it's not going to be something that they address in free agency. I think it's going to be in the draft. And do they tank? Do they tank and maybe try to go after Arch Manning? That's something that we could potentially.
Well, they got Malik Willis. They signed him to a 3-year deal, so that's that.
Yeah, but if that doesn't work out, you're going to need a backup option. I don't know if that backup option, if they even have a backup option right now. So.
Yeah, I don't think they do, honestly. Well, is it Zach Wilson? I think it's Zach Wilson, no?
Is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there. He's still there, I think.
Is that even a backup? To me,
it's something. I like I said, I like Malik Willis. I think his talent is good. I know he got overpaid.
Zach Wilson is not there. I think he gave a thank you post to them.
Okay, well, you know what?
I think
might have been a bad decision on him.
I remember him saying thank you to the organization and thanking them for giving him a chance. I don't think Zach Wilson's actually Miami Dolphins. So that's why I say if you draft Arch Manning, you don't have to play him. You could leave him behind Malik Willis. He could learn. And if Willis, for some reason, doesn't work out, then you can kind of maybe plug in some help there. But I don't think Zach Wilson's actually.
Yeah, you're right. I looked it up. He's on the Saints, actually, which is good for the Saints. Yeah, he's on the Saints. Good backup for the Saints, I guess.
So, I think Miami's going to have to address their quarterback situation. I don't think Malik Willis could be the only guy.
Nah, I think kind of sucks that they left him without weapons, low key. They Jalen Waddle, he's a Bronco now, so
they lost Waddle, so that whole offense is a complete different offense. It's a 180 of a team.
But yeah, I will say shout out to Ari for this mock draft. Well, big shout out to him. Shout out to Athletic Beat Writers for letting us use these. Well, more so helping us out in this video to kind of get. I mean, me and JV, we don't scout every single fucking player. We'll keep it $150 with you guys, but we're pretty informed to know what's gonna go on, especially when it comes to the Jets, the Giants, the Chiefs. So we try to keep it as informative as possible. Just want to say shout out to Ari and shout out to Athletic Beat Writers. Shout out to Adam Schefter, all these guys that we got these sources from. Shout out to them. But I will say we're in for a very good, exciting draft. JV, is there anything you want to close out with, specifically maybe for your Jets or just in general?
I just hope that the Jets do what they have to do in this first round and really make a stand for themselves. I do think at some point they're going to need to draft a wide receiver, so hopefully that plays out. I do think Geno's going to need all the offensive help he can get. I think with the defensive additions that they made, they should be pretty good on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, I'm sure they'll get a couple of pieces, especially in the first round, whether it's Reese, O'Bailey. So we'll see. I just hope that they get nail this up in the head and get this down correctly. So Aaron Glenn's going to need all the help in the world, especially.
I will say, is there anything you as a Jets fan that where you would look at that draft, the first round more so, and would be disappointed? Like, fuck, I don't think we hit on this. Would there be anything that would make you feel that type of way? Like, damn, we did not hit in this first round. Or are you more so up positive for any possibility?
I think they need an edge rusher. Like I said, I think it should be either Reese or Bailey. If they go wide receiver first for some reason, if they go offense first, which to me it's obviously a hot take. I do think one of those two guys is going to go. I think they'll mess up this entire draft if they do something drastic. I think they just be safe, either go Bailey or Reese, and just shore up that defense, because I think scoring points is going to be difficult. And I think they're going to do a lot of heavy relying on that defense. So I say short the defense as much as possible. And hopefully you could stop a lot of points from being scored, and hopefully Geno Smith can do something in his power to get some points on the board. I don't mess this first round up. That's all I can say. It's so important because once you do good in the first round, it should be smooth sailing the rest of the draft.
No, that is as long as you nail it. And I will say, shout out Court Sports and Spreads. She's actually a Jets fan, and she's going to be in the NFL draft, rooting on for the Jets. Obviously, big draft for them. I think it's a huge draft, more so for Aaron Glenn because there's a lot at stake for him. Like I said, I do believe he's kind of on a thin leash heading into next year. So they got to nail this shit. And I really do believe it's going to be hard for them to not nail it. I think that's more so how I look at it. Like JV said, hit this first round, and they're on to the rest. I think, especially because they do have how many picks did you say they have in the first?
They have 4 in the top 44. So
there you
top
go.
45. So
which is really good, low key, really good.
It really is. So let's go get this first round correct, and then from there it should be easy and smooth sailing at that point. The rest of the draft.
New York football in general, Jets and Giants, they're going to be looking at it and hoping they hit for sure, especially for the Giants. I know Mike's not here, but I think he knows how important this draft is for the Giants, more so to lead them in a positive direction for next year. Because we saw the promise with the Giants towards the end of the year with Dart having his moments. He needs a weapon, another weapon with Neighbors, and I do believe they need an offensive lineman big time. So
100%.
We'll see how that happens. But like I said, shout out Ari, shout out the Athletic Beat Writers for these great mock drafts. And just to kind of wrap it up more so on my end, I will ask you guys, was there any trade that you guys could see being a possibility? Like more so like, for example, how the Athletic Beat Writers have the Jets moving up. I think they have as well the Cardinals trading for 28, I believe, with the Texans. So I will ask you guys, is there a trade that you guys see being a possibility for your team? If not, just leave it in the comment section. We obviously love to hear your guys' opinions. As always, make sure to sub here at JBM Sports Media, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.